Hi everyone and welcome back to Rachel's Enchanting Cakes. Now this one is a special one. Here I am using the 6-inch round frost form with one of their amazing stencils, and just look at that finished result. If you are new to frost form, it's a way to add either American Buttercream, Swiss Meringue Buttercream, butter ganache, normal ganache to a cake without actually having to smooth any of it out. The liner in the frost form does this for you. But now they have these amazing stencils as well. So not only do you get a perfectly flawless cake, you can be a beginner baker and have never iced a cake before, it will come out like this. But you can also get a flawless stencil on using a gold luster dust perfectly using this innovative piece of equipment. As always, everything you need to know in a simple step-by-step format. Let's make a start. So this is my new 6-inch frost form. They come boxed and you will have a liner, a cutter for the actual cake, that is the front right, and on the front left we have the acrylic base that we will be placing all of the cake in, that will hold all of the icing, and the base liner. Now these stencils are designed for the 6-inch round frost form. I'm choosing to use the Nordic style in this tutorial. However, I also have the knit style in my collection. There are loads more different designs available and you will find them all on the official frost form website. Using the metal frost form cutter provided, simply cut off the crusts from your cakes. I have baked in total 3 cakes that are 5 centimeters deep. Take the frost form base and liner and use some buttercream to attach these together, and then place some buttercream on top of the liner to hold the cake in place. Add your first layer of cake using the black line as a guide to keep it central, and cover with a filling of your choice. Tip: if you now add the frost form liner directly around the cake and use the cutter that we used for the actual cake and place this over the top so it's really tight, it will allow you to then add the rest of the cake and the rest of the filling, but it will keep your cake perfectly vertical. It will make it so much easier to make sure that this cake is not accidentally slanting to one side. All you need to do now is add your final layers of cake and filling. Remember, you don't have to worry about any bulging with this because that line is holding everything in place. And then just to speed things up, I place this in the freezer just to allow that buttercream to go lovely and hard. So once your buttercream's set, take it out of the freezer, simply remove the cutter and then peel away the liner. This liner will now need to be washed for the next part. Place the acrylic base on a surface and in the centre simply add a small glass. You then want to place your cake directly on top of this glass. Taking the frost form stencil that you are choosing to use, you then simply want to wrap this directly around the base of the cake. So it's not actually touching the cake, it's touching that piece of acrylic that the cake is on. Simply fasten it and allow the base acrylic to support it in. Now taking the liner that we have washed, you want to repeat that process. So you want to be going around the outside of that base piece of acrylic that the cake is on. Use the markers to simply place it into place, and then again I just rest it on that piece of acrylic just until we have lined it up. Once it is all lined up, you will find that you will be able to gently push these down together, and then if you simply lift up the base and pull up, that will allow the cake to be exactly where you want it to be, bang in the centre. Now it's time for the butter ganache. So this is a close-up of what you should be seeing. You can see all the pattern just on the inside of the main liner. And obviously the cake is bang in the centre and not touching a thing. So this is the official butter ganache recipe that you can find on the Frost Form website. Link is in the description. You will need 660 grams of dark chocolate. Make sure you chop this up into very small fine pieces. I have used Dairy Fine by Aldi. Alongside this, 415 grams of chopped up butter. I just add one little extra ingredient that helps the chocolate just go that little bit darker, and I'm going to show you that next, and then show you just how easy this is to actually make. Now the extra ingredient is this super black Roxy and Rich completely edible dust, just to help make it that little bit darker. Here I have melted the butter in the microwave. It is not hot but warm, and I then place it on a bowl of boiling water. This is just to help. It's going to take a while for all our dark chocolate to melt. All you need to do now is just gradually add the chocolate and consistently stir until the chocolate has melted due to the heat of the butter. I then just add a very small amount of the Roxy and Rich and stir this in. This is how easy butter ganache is to make, and it is now ready to use with our stenciled frost form. This part is just so satisfying. How easy is this to cover a cake? So you gradually pour in your butter ganache mixture directly into the frost form. You can see how it's going from the base to the top. Now a lot of this will leak through onto the other liner. Do not worry about that. We're going to sort that out afterwards. It's so easy to use. I do choose to go quite high up just because I want all of the stencil texture in there. If you didn't want a high layer of butter ganache on top of the cake, obviously you'd make a deeper cake. But it really is as simple and as easy as this. Once you have filled it, I would then suggest just lifting it up and dropping it gently onto a surface just to help release any air bubbles. I then place mine in the freezer for about 2 hours just to make sure it's completely set. Once set, we now need to release the base from the actual cake, so place it on a glass again. Take away the outer liner, and you can see where all that black butter ganache is. Just use a palette knife. I've already started adding some gold on part of it. This is the Regency gold I am using by Faye Carl, and you want a lovely large brush, and once all of that pattern is exposed, just simply go over it, but make sure you leave the stencil on whilst doing this. Are you ready to peel to reveal? I think you may be pleasantly surprised when you see this. I certainly was, because the thing is, the outside of the stencil just looks such a mess, doesn't it? We've had little bits of butter ganache on there. It's covered in gold. So when you take it away, it's like, how can this cake just come out so neat when all I have had to do is literally pour it in? But just look at that. I'm absolutely in love with these stencils and just wish I had used them sooner. And there we have it, our finished cake, and just how easy was it to achieve. Happy baking, everyone. I really do hope I've helped you again today. Thank you all for your amazing support, and I'll be back soon with an awful lot more new, completely free content.